understand, and now you have this country. But this was possible for several reasons, but the main reason is that the crucial level was quite high. Secondly, but this is my personal view, and I don't know if you share or not, but I am communist. I always was communist of the Italian Communist Party, and I think more and more poor. Here I don't have the feeling that this is happening. Okay, but this was just my personal view. Just to highlight the level of education. And also before I was talking with some PhD students, it was really the research level is really good, very much and fastly. I have a very good observation window, that is the Sardinia Symposium. We started in the 87, there was no Chinese. 89, no Chinese. 91, no Chinese. Maybe the third Chinese came around the 2007. No, just recently. Nowadays, in the last edition, we had around 40 Chinese. I am the director and editor-in-chief of the journal Waste Management, which is considered the best journal in the waste management field. And we receive 2,000 papers per year. 2,000 papers. We publish only 20%. Okay, 2,000 papers. Among 2,000 papers, every 3 papers we receive 1 is a Chinese. Yeah. So this is reflecting the huge advancement in the interest of the country in waste management. And this is in general environmental protection. In the beginning, you have to develop economically, rapidly, and not put in too much care in the environment and waste management. But nowadays, even waste management is a part of the scientific field, is a part also of the economic field, because more and more we are investing in waste management. So, due to the fact that you are starting later, but there is on this a high scientific knowledge, and that's why people from all over, from Colombia, from India, from Pakistan, from Italy, from Croatia, come here, because this is a really very interesting scientific laboratory. Nothing new for China. Because in China, 3,000 of years before Christ, they were inventing almost everything. I saw the sewage collection pipework made 2,000 years before Christ. So 2,000 years before Christ, the sewage pipework. I saw that in the museum in Beijing. But from the waste management point of view, we can really exchange the information in order to avoid making some mistake. And in my opinion, in landfilling, we in the past, and still in our society, we are making some mistake. Like for instance, in Europe, we say there is no future for landfilling. Landfill should be abandoned. So this presentation is a presentation that is the main part of our research activity, and I would like really to make a small test with you, just to highlight one point. So I would like that you make the calculation of the surface, try maybe discuss with your colleagues, of the surface of an incinerator, of an incineration plant for 50,000 people. Okay, I have a small town of 50,000 people, and I'm asking you, make the calculation of the surface of the furnace, of the oven, for treating the waste produced by 50,000 people.
You've got me counting the seconds. It happens every time. I'm waiting for the moment we can sit down and talk for a while.
Okay, we can stop the exercise now. One second, but you didn't give me enough time, but because I was just starting calculating and said, the things that I have to tell you, that what I'm asking is senseless. It has no sense. Because nobody should make an incineration plant for a city of 50,000 people. Yeah. Because it's too little. It should be not something that has any sense. So this to tell you that in waste management, thinking and find the right solution is much more important than any kind of calculation. Now you are thinking, now what is the heating value of the waste, how many is the amount, but it's no sense. So in waste management, but the authorities sometimes they make the same mistake. They take some legislation that you have in Europe or in EPA in the States, and they try to transfer. So just making the same, not thinking that is the right solution. And the right solution is really the most important thing. And on landfilling, we are full of, in my opinion, of wrong thinking. Sometimes we design a landfill, and we are not designing landfill, we are designing contaminated soil. Because we design landfill which may contaminate in the future. It is a paradox, but the open dumps are creating less problem than sanitary landfills. It seems a paradox, but it's like that. And I can give you an example of why it is that. And that's why we have really to think and to rethink what is our final aim. And okay, so in discussing this, someone that was in Shanghai in the conference will listen the second time, but this time, as they told me that I have a little bit more time, I would like also to bridge more what I'm saying to you with our research results. Just thinking what I was discussing with some of your students earlier, which I found very interesting, and that's why that our idea that we will talk later on also to Professor Wong is important, really to share knowledge and to run research together in this way. Now, I will start a little bit from the scratch, but not because I assume that you, of course, you know very well what I'm telling to you, but I need this in order to see the development of how landfilling is changing and why still a lot of authorities, particularly in Europe, has a wrong idea of what landfilling is, of what landfilling should be. Now, the waste is a problem. If we can switch off probably that light, or you see that. Yeah, okay, that's it. It's better like that, you know? Okay. Now, if you use 15,000 tons of waste per day, roughly, yeah? And then if you consider the density of 0.5 ton per cubic meter, then you will come with, if you go in Tiananmen, if you fill up Tiananmen with waste, you can end with a tower of, I don't know, 100 meters in 1 year. 1 1 kilometer in 10 years. Okay, these kind of things is we can play with that, whatever. But for sure, it produces a lot of waste. In the past, the traditional way of wasting was take resources from the ground, have some production, and then waste, put in a landfill. And this was the system. It was open dumps. In the 19 was open dumps. In several corners of the world is open dumps. Yes, several corners. I go quite frequently to Bangladesh. We organize a conference there on waste management in the developing countries, and I would say that 50%, 60% of the waste are open dumps. There are some things that are changing. I visited, for instance, the landfill in Barranquilla. Now it's a sanitary landfill, but the first time I was visiting, it was just an open dump, and Mortadelo, with the gallinatos all over, the black bird, and you have the seagull, I will be here, but there you have gallinatos. And so this was the system. But landfill is the mother of all the new waste management system, because if you want to discuss among yourself, and this is something that we can see, we have several concerns coming for landfilling. We have the concern of the greenhouse gas, because we have production of CO2 or methane. We have the concern of the space. We have several concerns. And that's why we are changing. And it's not anymore possible to speak only about landfilling, but we have to speak more in general about waste management. These are our friend seagulls, which are very intelligent animals. Do you know that the seagulls? Do you have seagulls here in the landfill in Beijing? No, but quite often you find seagulls even if you are 400 kilometers from the sea. Because the seagulls, they travel, they move. They live on the sea, on the coast, and they sleep there. But for working, they travel, they fly, they go to the landfill, they go there, they eat something, and then they go back. That's why if you have an airport, you have to pay attention that the airport, that the direction, the traveling track of the seagull is different from the traveling track of the airplane. They have not to cross. Yeah? And then so you have to study when you site the landfill if this line, because the seagull are moving in one direction, the plane should move in a different direction, because if they meet, some seagull can enter in the engine of the airplane, and then some problem can arise. Okay, now let us see the president. The basis are that the landfill is a reactor. Yeah? No doubt about that. We have the waste deposit, we have the solid phase, we have the gas phase, which is the air trapped in the waste, we have the water, and we produce gas and leachate. And in the gas we have methane, CO2, and the fluorinated carbon and other trace elements, because these gas are in the products. The fluorinated carbon, like freon, are used in the fridge, circuit, but they are used also for forming the plastics. So if you have an old sofa, in the material you have CFC. Now, the reaction again, I'm using this and there is a purpose for that. So we have a chemical reaction, physical chemical reaction, dissolution, leaching, we have biological, anaerobic, aerobic, and we have thermal. You have also combustion and pyrolysis within the waste. We have, this is an issue that we are considering more and more. We had landfilling with tannery waste, where we had a lot of fires, and it was due to a pyrolysis effect, because the temperature is increasing. If you have aerobiization in the beginning, you have some internal combustion, then it comes to pyrolysis, and then it starts some thermal chemical reaction. And then we had a fire reaching temperature of 140 degrees that normally don't receive with that. So it is an issue that we have to keep under control. And but what is the most important? Quite often we concentrate on this, biological. Okay, biological degradation is important for the soil, for the municipal waste, but this solution in leaching is much more important because this is a very long-lasting process. Biodegradation, in 20 years, 30 years, you can achieve biodegradation, particularly if you go under aerobic conditions. But this solution in leaching can last a very, very long time. Now, we know the impacts that we may have from landfilling, greenhouse emissions, ozone depletion. If you have the landfill from different distance from the landfill, you may have the effect of this impact. The odor nearby the landfill, the insect and the bird nearby the landfill, fire explosion nearby, vegetation, but groundwater has a longer diffusion, and then ozone depletion, greenhouse gas, you can feel at several kilometers far from the landfill. Well, but if I ask to you, as I was asking to my students, would you like a landfill? Would you like to live close to a landfill? First of all, let us think and discuss this part of this audience and this part of the audience. Let us say that you are in favor of incineration, and that you are in favor of landfilling. Okay? Now, why you are in favor for incineration in waste management? Tell me, why you would prefer incineration to landfill?
Because of energy recovery and the utilization of land is minimized.
Okay, you produce energy, yeah, and then you are a better utilization of this place and a higher reduction. And please, tell something against the incineration. Right? Yeah? Okay, price. Dioxide. You, Chuck.
Public also don't want to live inside the incineration plants because the volume and the emission. Even they have control, but nobody wants to live around it.
And Chuck, why you are the part of landfilling? Why you are in favor of landfilling? Yeah? Why? Yeah? Because it's cheap, economical. Okay. You have to defend, you have to accuse them. So why you are in favor of landfilling? Particularly the gas, Kiki, why you are in favor of landfilling?
I'm working on that.
No, I'm asking Kiki.
The construction of a landfill is
What?
The construction of a landfill is easy and cheap.
Easy and cheap. Easy and cheap.
Also produce biogas.
Biogas. Because, okay, it's a value. Now, please decide why you are against landfilling.
Because of the time consumption process, it's more than 200 years. So the completions of the degradation.
Okay, one is this. You are against them. The smell, and then you, why you are against landfilling? Do you want the landfilling nearby your house? No, no. You? No. You? No. Why? You don't want that. Come on, smell bad. Smell bad. And then we produce the water.
then it produces order as well, and if we are going to build stories, so by the time
what else? You are great there. Why you not like landfilling? You are not a young lady. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah? Why? Why you are against landfilling?
Because not only the landfill time, but also we have to manage after the landfilling. So the landfill project is the most important phase, but it is human beings cannot pay attention after we use it off.
Okay. Yes, sir. This is a very nice concept. It's a little bit also you are mentioning. I was asking my students, and they were somehow reflecting the people. Why? Against odors, fire, explosions, toxic contamination of air, of the soil, of the groundwater, waste of valuable resources. Why do we have to put in the landfill material which can become paper, which can become metals, so resources? We are dumping our resources. Then, negative impact on landfill and landscaping is ugly. And land volume occupancy will occupy a lot of space with incineration will reduce. Global climate change due to the greenhouse effect, risk for the human health. Particularly, if you see the people, particularly they are against this. Now, okay. Now let us think what's happening in the year. You're right, we have the gas and the leachate, but we can collect the gas and the leachate. And of course we can produce some energy out of the gas. But moving from the open dumps, we are controlling the emission and we are using barriers to avoid an uncontrolled emission into the environment. And that's why we had a technical evolution of the filling. In the past there was the uncontrolled dumping, open dumping. Then we moved to the controlled tipping, which means that it was a kind of dumping, but with some fencing, with some daily covers, thin layer deposition, fencing and scavenging control, attenuate and disperse approach. There was no leachate collection, but they were studying very well the siting in order that the soil was capable to attenuate and disperse the leachate diffusion. This was a typical landfill which was used in the UK in this period. And they didn't have any disaster because they were carefully siting the landfill. They were not siting the landfill in a gravel pit or near the sand pit. Then in the 80s, between the 80s and the 2000s, and still is the vision that we have of landfill is this one: a liner system, clay, membrane, leachate extraction and biomass management, waste compaction, anaerobic condition, and capping topsoil with a low permeability surface. This is what we have in mind, and this is what the authorities have in mind. And this one we control nowadays the sanitary landfill. But this one is not enough. This one is the kind of landfill that sooner or later will create problem. For the reason that our president of Pakistan was saying, and for the reason that the students, I don't know, students or young professor was telling to us. What is your name? Yes? Yukiko. So you are Japanese?
Yes.
Okay. So what Yukiko was telling us, the long term process. So nowadays we are moving to an approach where we talk about multi-barrier approach, waste pretreatment, so bring to landfill only the residual waste, and this, but also this concept is now becoming old, and the new concept is sustainable feeling, but the most new concept is the final sink, and we concentrate on this concept of the final sink. The sustainable landfilling is just what Yukiko was telling us, that this process is lasting for a very long time. And after one generation time, after 30 years, this the impact that we have from a landfill is still very high. So this means that after one generation time, we still have a problem. And this is not against the concept of sustainability. The sustainability concept is well known, is let us give a better future to our children, but I have to be egoistic, I would like to have a good future also for myself, yeah? And a good present for myself. While we have always to think to the future of our children, let us think also to the presence of our future of ourselves. And this means that we have to manage the landfill in a way that is not impacting for a long time. We will go. It seems that there are a simple concept that but why he's coming to tell us these things? Because then, when we talk about sustainability, quite often sustainability is blah blah blah. I want a sustainable waste management. I want a sustainable transport system. It's a blah blah blah. I want to have, we are here engineers, how we can implement with engineering tool sustainability concept. Because if we want to make something sustainable, we have to reduce, for instance, in a landfill, the impact to one generation time. A landfill should not make impact for longer than 20, 25, 30 years. 30 years is a maximum. Then after 30 years, we close the landfill and say, okay, ciao, bye-bye. Yeah? Thank you. No, but nowadays we cannot do that. Because if we do that, we leave a contaminated soil. Now, I would like to come to the conclusion that we can do something. And nowadays in our regulation, mainly we think to landfilling of municipal solid waste. But municipal solid waste is a very small fraction of the waste that we produce. A small fraction. We have the industrial waste, we have landfilling of industrial waste that is much more hazardous and important. Then we concentrate on barriers. Yeah? Clay liner, plastic liner, yeah? The barriers that we can install. Clay, 1 meter thick. When you start asking to a student, how do you engineer a landfill? The first thing, well, 1 meter of clay liner, 1 meter geomembrane, 30, 50 centimeter of gravel, then we have a pipe slotted for a drainage pipe, then geotechnical for protecting. It's like the exercise I told you. This is without thinking. First of all, thinking what I'm putting here inside. What is happening here inside? What is my final target? My final target is what you and Yukiko were highlighting. My final target is to having low emission after 30 years. My final target is not the clay. This is stupid thing for everybody can do this, every company. This is it's important, of course, but the final target is different. Yeah? Okay. Then, let us okay. Then another aspect we are concentrating is biodegradation. Biodegradation is important, as I told you, but the long-time leaching is even more important. And that's why we are concentrating more in Europe, for instance, mechanical biological treatment of waste, segregation of the putrescibles, and so on. But issue like long-term impact, environmental sustainability, diffuse emission control, and a need for financing are something that no regulation is addressing. You don't find in the world any regulation on landfilling which is telling you something about this, how to control these aspects. And these aspects, as I repeat again, you keep Sumra, and Sumra was saying, are the most important. Yeah? It's a paradox. You say that these are the most important things, but the regulation, they don't care about that. They only say, the EPA and also the European, that you have to put aside the money because you may need it for the aftercare. Definitely, it's not. Okay, 1 meter. This means that it is impermeable, that no water can come through this? No. Because if you make the calculation, this is the Darcy law, and you consider 1 meter, if you take here 1 and the thickness of 1, and this is 10 power minus 9, this means that a drop of water has a speed of 10 power minus 9 meter per second. This means that a drop of water makes this distance 1 meter, 100 centimeter, in 33 years. 33 years. In 33 years, nothing in the life of a land. So it means that the clay liner are not protective at all. Of course, you may have some absorption, etc. But you have the geomembrane which has a hose, this one which leak. Then you have sometimes engineering problem. You have a clogging effect because the bacteria grow in the drainage mass. You may have some wrong layout of the pipe, because never the pipe should be like this, because the pipe needed to be inspected. And this means that you can send some video inspection and you cannot make the line with so many branches. Then the leachate collection can break. Then you may have the problem of a building up of a leachate water table within the landfill, and then you can increase the velocity. No, you maybe walk, or maybe the restaurant is far, you can buy. Yeah. So, I mean, with the transport system, we would not make this kind of stupid discussion, what is better, it's better landfill, it's better incineration. But we will use it, and the message should be making the right choice. Thinking that there is a moment that you need recycling, there is a moment that you need incineration, and then there is a moment to make landfilling. It's not that you say, well, I will use this, and then if I don't have any other system, then I will use the ship, yeah, or I will use the airplane. Yeah? No, you don't make this kind of thinking. But with the waste management, we make this mistake. Then, but you have some people that also in the transport, they never take the airplane. They use only the train because they found more ecological compatible. But this is the point. And the politicians are reflecting this. They are not, at least in Europe, interested in landfilling. They consider that landfilling is an old stuff, is a polluting system, and please don't talk to me about landfilling. There is no research money in Europe going to landfilling. If you propose landfilling, this guy is crazy, it's old guy. Maybe crazy, but not old guy. Okay. there is a joke in Italy that there is a young, a very well-educated young, and an old guy is parking the car and touching the motorbike of the young, and the young thought, look there, stupid old man. And then this old man thought, yes, you are right. I wish you never to get old. Okay. Now, the conclusion of the authority is that the landfill is the dustbin in waste management strategies, that only the waste which cannot be recycled should go to landfilling. The landfilling should be banned or reduced as much as possible. No more landfill, zero waste to landfill. Now, and the idea is that one day you will go to the museum and you will find that, you see, landfill that stupid people are making in the last century, in 1999, they were making landfilling, and now this is not done anymore. And then, of course, the people is reflecting this. The people is thinking, no discarica, no landfill, no rellenos, no to landfill. Here, who make landfill is poisoning your habitats, and no landfill without asbestos. Oh, mama, will I die by cancer? Or be active and implicitly be against landfilling. When you see this boy, that is a typical result, unfortunately, of the chemotherapy. So bringing cancer to landfill. Nowhere in the world there is any link between municipal solid waste, landfilling and cancer. No link. But if you ask to the people, 100% living nearby a landfill, they think that they will get cancer out from. Even from the open arms, there is no link. You may have any other kind of problem. Oils, smelling, pollution of groundwater, but for sure no cancer. But in any case, this is what the people is thinking. And Dad, Mom, please stop, do that for my life. So, now I will give you an example of how this is wrong. Let us talk about housing. When landfilling, you take the waste and you put in the land. Housing is living in a house. Is housing dangerous? Unfortunately, housing is dangerous. These are houses which fall down. They were old and badly managed and probably designed, and two cats were killed. In the L'Aquila, in Italy, we had a earthquake, and most 400 people died, and 90% it was due to a bad housing. The housing were not properly designed for resisting to earthquake, and it was a seismic zone. So housing is killing people or making people. Then housing is polluting. Anytime that you have a housing, you have wastewater, sewage, waste management. So housing is a contaminating activity. Then housing is destroying the landscape. It's creating problem to the landscape. So the conclusion, is that housing is an unacceptable system. Should we ban the housing? We have not to build any more housing. We have to send 0 people to housing, like 0 waste to landfill. No, the conclusion is that this one, that we have the possibility to have nice housing, good housing, respecting the environment, eco-compatible, and also we have the need, and this is really important. I think that during the Sardinia we have to discuss about that, because we have a confusion on name. Okay, we have open dump, and this is clear, no cheating. But then we have sanitary landfilling. And we think that sanitary landfill, in the developing country, they think that sanitary landfill is an advancement. and it isn't. It's what we discussed earlier. Then we have the landfill bioreactor, yeah? Just because we are recycling leachate, but landfill is always a bioreactor if you have putrescible matter. Then we have a hybrid landfill. What we are doing nowadays is, can you make aerobic, anaerobic? Someone called that hybrid. What does it mean? This is really a term that is, in the fluidodynamics, hybrid means that you have a plug flow or continuous fluid, and this is something in between. But aerobic or anaerobic, the right term could be facultative. So probably we are making facultative reactor because it can be aerobic or anaerobic, as we have the facultative bacteria that according to the environment can be in one way or the other way. Then we have a predominantly inorganic landfill, inert landfill, sustainable landfilling. We have geological repository that is a kind of landfill where the material will be in a kind of final rock quality without leaching anymore, as you have in a geologic deposit. Sick landfill, hazardous landfill. So there is a need for a new classification there. But I would like to insist a little bit on this diagram that I was setting a few years ago, and I was presenting in the editorial of the journal with the concept of the urban mining. Because in my point of view, just using this very simple scheme and the mass balance concept, you can arrive to the important rule and modern role of landfilling nowadays. So, this line was the line that we commented earlier. Take, make, waste. This was typical. You are producing waste, find a hole in the land and dump. That was the normal system. Nowadays, with the concept of the circular economy, we say, let us recycle and reuse the resources. And everybody is doing this. We have to be careful because the recovery of resources is important. But we have to do that without demagoguery. Do you know this term, demagoguery? This means, for instance, when we say collect the paper and save a tree. This is a normal way of saying, and this is really, in my opinion, is a stupid thing. Because it's like to say, don't eat salad and you say the tomato. Yeah. Because the production of paper is an agricultural activity. You plant trees, you produce trees fast growing, so with a lot of cellulose, not lignin. So you produce cellulose and you produce paper. The trees in the Amazonia, they are cut not for producing paper, but they have a lot of lignin, so for the quality of the wood or for other purposes, for making intensive agriculture, for making mining activity, for some speculation. But we bring this message, save. In fact, in one of these editorials I was commenting that eat beavers and you save the trees. Do you know beavers? They are that animal that eat the trees. So if you eat the beavers, you will save trees. Even if the beavers would not agree at all. Yeah? But this is an aspect that we have to think about. That sometimes we have this demagoguery. So if you, in Sardinia we were, the authorities were paying the municipality for collecting the papers. But there were not in Sardinia paper mill. And so the paper had to be transported by truck and then by ship to the mainland, using a lot of fuel for saving energy and recycling paper. So this kind of paradox we should avoid in recycling. And finally, when we are recycling, we have to consider that we are also recycling a lot of contaminants. And we are going now to publish, maybe the next issue of waste management, a paper on how many substances you have in the paper, how many substances, flame retardant, substances again, biodegradability, and substances for making the paper more shining, or the ink that we use. A lot. When we are recycling the fiber of cellulose together, we are also recycling all these substances. And then these substances will accumulate in the system. So let us just follow this simple mass balance. I extract from the fixed stock of the human mind is also to use the waste which has been already deposited in the old landfill. So if I make a mass balance, let us try to make a mass balance here. I can calculate the E, what is entering the system. Okay, what is entering the system is equal to or what is leaving the system or is accumulated in the system. Okay, this one is the accumulation that you have with the reuse and recycle. This one is the one which is accumulated in the landfill. This one is the sum of all the diffused emission, and this is what you are putting back to the soil. So this is very simple mass balance. Now, as an environmental engineer, what we have to do? We have to control this. Control the diffuse emission, because there is not a corner in the world where you don't have an increase of diffused emission. So if I bring to the first term this, the sum of the diffused emission, and if I say that my purpose is to control this diffuse emission, how to control this diffuse emission? By increasing all water has the sign plus here, or by increasing all water has the sign minus. So for